Alright, so I've got a sneak peek at the update for Rehearsal and Choreography Mode, which is an enhanced battle mode. I originally did a proof of concept a little while back, but actually Fredrik's helped me really make this even better. So I'm going to go through kind of a description of it, show you some of the controls and examples. But so basically, this is going to be an optional mode. So if you're not interested in having it, it's something that you'll add with the define. If it's not something up your alley and you don't want it, you just don't include the define and it isn't there. But the idea behind it, this is actually the mode that created battle mode. So originally I was chasing this choreography capability, and I came up with the controls that ended up making up battle mode, but I didn't get the choreography part down. So and Fredrik helped me out a bunch because there was a lot of stuff I just couldn't quite get working right. So basically now, the new rehearsal and choreography mode is actually going to be font specific. So you can actually have multiple choreograph files, one per font, saved on your saber, and that way you can have different routines for every font, which is great. So the original one was just going to be one master choreography file. Thanks to Fredrik, we actually have it so that it's there's actually a choreo.ini file available in every one of your fonts. If it's there, it'll let you use choreography mode. If it's not, there is the rehearsal mode where you can actually record it yourself. And the way it's set up actually now, again, thanks to Fredrik, is it's actually going to be plain text based. So you can just fill out, obviously, the correct syntax, but you can actually make the choreography file just as a text file on your computer and load it up, and it will run as well. And you can also take that file from your SD card and make copies of it and provide it to someone else so that they can run the same choreography. Now, one of the caveats to that is that part of that choreography file is actually going to be the sounds that play. So your clash, your begin, your lockup, and your end lockup. While you're in rehearsal mode, it's going to randomly choose them. But what's going to happen is the choreography file is going to actually record that number. So say you're doing it, the first clash that you do is playing clash sound 14. The choreography file will actually save that file 14 with the clash, and that way when you run back your choreography based on rehearsal, it plays the same sounds. Now again, because you can also edit this on your computer, you could actually go in and set up all the clash sounds you want for every one of the actions throughout the choreography. Same thing with your begin lockup sound, your regular lockup, and your end lockup sound. So all the file numbers that are related to those sounds are part of the choreography file. That way you repeat the same sounds on top of repeating the actions. And there'll be a whole write-up on exactly the syntax and how to do it. But so what that means is if you have, say, a font that has like 20 clash sounds, and you make a copy of your choreography file and you give it to somebody and they put it on a font that only has 5 sounds, you're going to actually have missing sounds. So that's the one piece that you'll want to keep an eye on. And again, as part of the documentation, is because we're actually going to save the number of the different sounds that are happening. You want to make sure that whatever font you put them in, if you're manually doing it, that they actually do exist. But other than that, you can also use rehearsal mode, which I'll show. And then I've also added some menu prompts. Brian helped making these prompts again, so big thanks to Brian. Just to help kind of choose it so that if you have, say you have, like this font already actually has a choreography file in it, I don't want to automatically overwrite it if I accidentally go to rehearsal. So when I first go to rehearsal, it's going to actually prompt me if I want to keep the existing rehearsal or if I want to replace it, which I'll show. Then you go through, so the idea with rehearsal mode, which is the first step to this, is all your controls are standard. So a regular clash is a clash, and then to do lockup, you'll hold the aux button and do your clash. And this allows you to either just, like I'm going to do here in the demo by myself, set it up, or if you're actually practicing with your opponent, you can, obviously talk it through and say, okay, this time we'll do a clash, this time we'll do a lockup, this time we'll do another clash. And while you're in rehearsal mode, all of those actions are then recorded to the SD card. And then when you go back into the mode, when you go into choreography mode, then all those exact same actions based on when you clash is actually going to repeat. And it's going to repeat the action as well as whatever sound was generated. And it works really well. So you can, come up with them. And again, because it's font specific, you can have a bunch of different choreograph files on your saber. So how we'll go in, we'll start off going into rehearsal mode. So I'm going to turn my saber off. Now, another piece of it, I've actually changed a couple things in the controls also. While you're in choreography mode, which I'll show second, actually all of the saber off functions are turned off. So twist off, if you have it active, as well as the power button are deactivated. The only way your saber will turn off during actual choreography is if you hold both buttons, and you hold them, it's a long hold on both together. This is so that there's no chance of your saber accidentally going off during the choreograph file. Now, once your choreography file ends, the saber automatically will revert to basic control, and your twist off and your regular buttons all go back to normal. And that's intentional. That way, if you finish out your planned choreography, the saber will then just go to normal mode, and you can use it regularly. So let's go in. So the controls, again, they still may change, although I'm getting pretty close to finishing all the controls I want. So these are probably what I'm going to keep, but I might tweak them out just as I finish up a couple other pieces. So while your saber's off, we're going to go to rehearsal mode. You're going to hold the aux button and twist.
Replace rehearsal.
And I have a rehearsal already in this font, so it asked me if I want to replace it. And if you press the aux button, it's going to keep the existing rehearsal, so I can do that.
Keep rehearsal.
So nothing happens. So now it just says, okay, you accidentally went into rehearsal mode and you don't want to replace your rehearsal, so you're good to go. Now if I do it again and I want to actually change the rehearsal,
replace rehearsal,
I'll press the power button and it'll actually go into rehearsal mode.
Begin rehearsal.
So now I'm in rehearsal mode. So now again, the controls are going to be normal where it's a regular clash. So let's do 2 clashes. And then I'll do a lockup, so I'm going to hold my aux button and clash. And it doesn't matter how long you do it. And now, while it's happening, the clashes, the begin lockup, lockup, and end lockup files, they're randomly generated. But it's recording them so that the same ones will play back in choreography. So now we'll do another clash. We'll do a lockup. And then we'll end it with 2 clashes. I'm just making this up to show it. And then we'll end it. So now when you want to end rehearsal, again, just so it's not accidentally done, you're going to actually do a long hold on your power button. And that's what tells the saber to save your rehearsal and also that it's now ended.
End rehearsal. So
it says end rehearsal. Now the saber's going to freeze for a second. That's because we're writing to the SD card. There's no real way around that. If I try to turn the saber off first and save it, it actually cuts the prompt. I might tweak it up a little bit, but that freezing of the saber is actually because the rehearsal file is being saved. Now I've saved my rehearsal, and I'm on this font. Now going into choreograph mode, you're going to hold your aux button and swing, or you can do a long hold on aux. And again, the buttons may change, but I'm going to use the hold aux button and swing. So now I'm in begin choreography. Now, and also I know I'm going to get the question, all the prompts right now are their file names. If you don't like the spoken begin choreography, begin rehearsal, end choreography, you'll just save a different sound. For demo purposes, obviously I want to know what's happening. But particularly if you're actually going into choreography, you probably want maybe like a quote from a character, maybe like a short music clip. But you'll be able to put those into your font so that they play something different. But for our purposes, it's going to say begin rehearsal, end rehearsal. It's going to say begin choreography, and it's also going to say end choreography when the file is finished. And that's intentional, but the sounds, you'll be able to change them out. So now I'm in choreography mode, so it's going to remember. So now the big piece of choreography mode is that I don't have to worry about my buttons anymore. I don't have to worry about holding the aux button to do lockup. I don't have to worry about any of it. It's going to repeat the same order of clashes and lockups that you recorded in your rehearsal. So if my first time I clash, it's a clash. Second time, I think I did 2 clashes. Probably help if I wrote it down. Now, third clash, there's 3 clashes, then a lockup. Now the lockup's over. Now the controls for the ending lockup is the same as battle mode. That's the pull away. So you would be able to do your lockup and then pull away to end it, and that's, again, part of your choreography. Clash. Another lockup, pull away, clash, another clash. And I spoke over it, but it says end choreography. And again, that's to tell you that, okay, the sequence that you had recorded is now over. And that's just to let you go. So you probably want maybe like, again, a quote from a character, maybe just a small music clip to play. But it's just to let you know, hey, that recorded sequence is over. And what happens when you end choreography mode, it actually stays in battle mode. So that way it's going to do its normal controls so you can do your quick and you can do all your other things. That way if you happen to do some flourish afterwards after the set choreography, you still have all the battle mode controls in place so you don't have to worry about your buttons yet again. And let me just show the, so now I'm past choreography, so now my twist off and my power button will work. But let me show that with me back in choreography mode. So you can go back into choreography mode as often as you want. Every time you start it, it's going to restart that sequence.
Begin choreography.
So now while I'm in choreography, twist off doesn't work, my power button doesn't work. But if I want to say, for whatever reason, I want to turn my saber off and I don't feel like going through the whole sequence, you can hold both buttons for a long time. And that will actually end choreography mode and turn your saber off. But you have to hold both buttons and it's a long hold. And again, that's safety precautions so that if you do have this great choreography planned out, you don't accidentally hit a button and turn your saber off, or you don't accidentally twist the saber and turn it off. Mine's obviously not in choreography mode anymore. So that's part of it. And now it is font specific, so I can actually go to another font. Now, if, say, you're in a font that doesn't have choreography, it's going to tell you that. If I try to go into choreography mode without a choreography file, it's actually going to say it to me.
Begin choreography.
Oops, I saved choreography on this font. Oh yeah, I did that in the demo, sorry. But so, actually yeah, I did it on a couple of them. But at any rate, if you happen to go into a font that doesn't have choreography file, oops, I'm locked out, let's close this. So, great safety feature, but if you're in there accidentally, actually my first several fonts are going to have choreography on them. So at any rate, there is actually a separate prompt that will play if you try to go into choreography mode, obviously without choreography. It'll actually prevent the saber from igniting, and it'll say no choreography. And then it'll actually take you to rehearsal mode. And because I was playing with it, I actually did add choreography files to this. But that's yet another feature. So lots of stuff coming. But choreography, rehearsal mode, I'm just doing a little bit of playing with the prompts and the controls and stuff. But that's basically done. Again, Fredrik really helped out, so big thanks to Fredrik, of course, throughout this whole process. But so this is coming. It will be optional, but it's going to be font specific, so you can have as many different files for choreography as you have fonts. There'll be a full write-up if you wanted to actually, write the text file individually and not use the rehearsal. But so lots of other stuff coming. OS 6 is moving forward. I actually submitted a bunch of stuff for Fredrik, so now there'll be a lot of cleanup of the code, getting everything streamlined. I know people are asking for it. I would say it's sooner than later, but there is still a lot. There's still pieces that have to be finalized, and then of course there is a full code review that Fredrik has to do, because even though I make this stuff, I'm not necessarily anywhere near Fredrik's level of coding, so a lot of times stuff that I do in a proof of concept, I show it to him, and then he helps me get that code all cleaned up. He's got obviously way better knowledge of the stuff to make it work even better. Just like all the work he helped me out with choreography mode, just to be able to make it so that it's font specific, so you can handwrite those choreography files, and then also being able to actually save the sounds themselves to the file. Yet another new feature coming in OS 6. It is coming sooner than later, but no exact ETA yet, so I'm sure I'll get questions. But hope you all enjoy.